Hello and welcome. This is episode 6 of our Success on Purpose podcast. It's an inspirational resource supporting you to live on purpose. My name is Melanie Taylor. I'm the CEO, Chief Energy Officer. And today for podcast number 6, I'm very, very grateful to be interviewing one of my bestest friends and a beautiful empowerment parenting mentor and making such a difference in the world. Yolanda Alvares. Thank you, gorgeous, for being here today. I'm super, super grateful to share with the world, your beautiful business, where you come from, how you're such an inspiration to so many, and the power of being mentored as a parent, because I think parents are absolutely amazing what they do, because there's no, little book that you get and said, here you go, here's parenting 101. Away you go. And so, you're learning all the time on the journey. And then I know that parents can be quite judgmental of themselves, and I'm stuffing up my children and feel guilt and, all of those sorts of things. But of course, everything is perfect. But then we can learn so much through our children, and we can allow ourselves to have a deeper relationship so that we can all thrive. And so it's so beautiful that this is your career. This is what you do. So really want to share that with our listeners today, so that they can either be mentored themselves to work with their family to build it to be a thriving family, or someone that they know out there that wants to. And it's not necessarily that you're broken by any means. It's just that you want to, how can I improve? How can I learn? How can I evolve more? How can I be the best version of myself and be a leader to support my children to then step up and be leaders? So it's so beautiful. So gorgeous. Thank you for being here today. I'm super, super grateful.
And oh my God, you touched on so many beautiful points just there, Mel. Oh my God. I am so very grateful to be here and to very honored to be in your beautiful space that you create to serve the world. So thank you for your invitation. And yes, I'm super, super grateful to be doing this work, because parents are always seeking to do the best. And yes, they do the most amazing work, limited to the knowledge and the experience and their own life patterns. And that's what this work is about, allowing for parents to do the next level of best work by becoming more aware of their own patterns, their own how their own parenting, and more times than not, we were unconsciously parented by our most beautiful parents. They didn't know what we have the privilege to know today. And that is what empowered parenting is about, giving that opportunity. And thank you so much for saying not broken. Yes. A lot of parents I come across hold back because they don't want to be identified, or don't want to identify themselves as being broken, or not being capable of parenting. But everyone is, and everyone is capable to their best. So they are doing their absolute best. Every parent is doing the absolute best. And just to be mindful that we are limited to, like everyone and all, I'm limited in my work to the knowledge I have. So it is my responsibility to increase that knowledge and seek for resources, because my heart is committed to being a good parent myself, being the best parent I can be, being the best parenting support and guidance mentor to the parents. So we're all on that journey to grow and to support, and doing it in the space of parenting is so much more, it has that generational effect as well. We not only break generational patterns that we have unconsciously carried, but we have then generationally empowered our kids to be so much aligned with who they are, to grow up in that space, because we first need to be that person. And then they raise kids, and they affect and influence communities. And this whole freaking world is such an amazing place to be. So if the parents could just allow for that amazingness that comes from them choosing to be amazing That's what we do at Empowered Parenting. We empower parents to create those win-win relationships and experiences in their home, because it's so important as they're raising their kids from that space and energy of them feeling like they are winning in this relationship too. That they are not feeling like they've just got to do what they are being told, and that's how things will run smoothly in the house. There comes a point when you're either shutting your child down because they just want to be the good child and follow through what you're saying, and it's really the least empowering thing you can do to, as you let that child and raise that child into the world, or they're going to fight back, they're going to build a wall, they're going to resist you, and that's not at all what we want. So win-win parenting, where the parent feels like they're winning, the child feels like they're winning, and we have a home that's thriving.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Thank you. It makes me emotional because we all need a safe space to thrive.
Yeah.
And when you don't have the rule book on parenting, of course, there's a lot of fear. And then, as you say, you're coming from that default programming, because you can only parent the way you've learned from your parents, as you say, unconsciously. So when you can actually break those patterns and then learn through love and learn through safety, as you say, everyone can thrive, which is just can create such a beautiful reality where children are able to live in possibility rather than thinking, because for me, I was always, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. And thankfully for all my mentors to support me to get here today. But it's just the ability just to allow kids to go, oh yeah, I can do that, I'm going to have a go, and to be supported to fail. I think that's the most important thing that we can be missing, is the opportunity to have a go at something and fail and learn so many lessons from it. And then just keep building yourself, your strength, your resilience. But quite often we don't give kids the opportunity to fail so that they can't find their skills and strengths. And I feel like we can cut their wings, so to speak, at times.
Yeah. And parents do that, Mel, because they haven't got their wings on. They haven't. And what we do is really support parents to put their own wings on, accept themselves and all parts of themselves. Because we only give from what we allow ourselves. So in order to completely accept your child and completely allow for your child to see their whole worthiness and to truly thrive and be aligned with their true self, yes, it is our responsibility as a parent to give that gift to our kids. Or, like many of us, we come to a space and we have to figure it out ourselves and find those wings, learn to fly, fall 100 times. As we've done, Mel, on this journey. But we can give that to our kids when we do it for ourselves. So put on those wings, know your full potential. And I understand when parents hold back, because I was there too. As I was busy putting my own wings and putting all this focus on myself and allowing myself to raise my own worthiness, there was guilt there that, shouldn't I be focusing on my kids? Why am I focusing on me? So there was that, and only to realize, and that's when I remember running off to want to write my book, is when I realized that as I did that, my kids were inevitably thriving because my language towards them had changed. The way I responded to them changed, and they were looking for opportunities to shine where they were. My oldest, Yannicka, got accepted into, she wanted to apply into select school and she got accepted into them. This was a child that I thought was challenged in her learning. How can this even be? It happened from me. As I stood in my own acceptance, accepting all parts of me, healing myself, finding out who I was and what I can be and what my message to the world is and what I needed to do to take those actions and focus on me. They began to focus on themselves and started to look for areas in their lives where they could thrive. They only follow us.
Oh my God, that is so beautifully said, because that comes back to the tribal, because we always want to be part of the tribe. So when the mum is saying, yeah, I've got this, I'm having to go, then this child feels safe. Oh yeah, okay, me too. I can have a go, I can try. And then, of course, this is where the
and they tap into your joy. As I was doing this, my joy level was increasing. I was the happiest I'd ever been as I was discovering the stepping out of my comfort zone. I mean, you were on that journey with me, Mel. There were downs, but there were highs as well.
Well, that's what I want to share with our listeners to actually go into that is how we've ended up being here together right now. And it came from a mentor of ours beautiful Wilson Luna, 8 years ago.
Maybe more, Mel.
Maybe more.
Yeah, 10.
And
because
yes.
Because I started Giggles for Girls when Janelle was 8, and she's going to be 18 this year.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
You were at that party, Mel. You were doing the girls' nails and hair, and you're all over all our social media.
Oh, yes.
That was beautiful.
Oh, so beautiful to explain how we've been on this journey together from conception.
Yes.
And how I'll just talk from my experience, and then I'll let you talk from yours. This is the wording I use: green as grass. I had no idea about business whatsoever. All I had was a why and a yearning to make a difference in the world, coming off the back of massive breakdown, burnout, ducks in the class in, palliative care and academia, and then just realizing that I was a high achiever in fear. Actually, nothing was ever good enough because I couldn't really enjoy the process because I had this perfectionism and, not good enough behind that. And then beautifully, I started to be mentored. I found a mentor to work with to start to peel back the I'm not good enough and those perfections. And then I started to expand into a state of, I suppose, possibility. And I thought, I want to learn more about life. What else is out there? And another beautiful friend of mine who was a nurse sent me an inbox message in Facebook and said, Mal, I reckon you should check this out. And God knows how she would even think, why would I be interested in leadership and business, mentorship and training? And it was the most challenging time for me, actually, because it was the first time in my whole life that I put myself first. My uncle was actually dying at the time, who I was very close to, who was like a father to me. And of course, I love being with people when they're dying because that's what I did for 18 years as a palliative care nurse. And the course, he was actually imminently dying, and the course was on the Saturday and the Sunday, and it got to the Friday night, and I was there in Ballarat with my family, and I was just toing and froing. Do I go to this course? Not? What do I do? And I just kept feeling into it. And I was like, I've got to go. I don't know why, but I've just got this yearning that I need to go to this course. And so I drove to Melbourne then on the Friday night to be ready for Saturday morning. He actually died on the Saturday morning.
Oh my God.
And I realized it was then that I stepped up to the leader. I was already the leader, but I didn't know it because I actually put it all behind me. I didn't grieve. I was totally present for those 2 days. And then on the Monday morning, I was able to pick that up and start my grieving process. And I was asked to write the eulogy, which was just so beautiful, so grateful. But yeah, it was this journey of actually starting to put myself first. And from doing that, it's just, wow, the gifts that it's actually brought to me. And meeting you, and there's a few others of us in that group, has just been absolutely life-changing. And so we all would go, we would fly around Australia, no money. Like I was.
What about London, Mel?
We went to London. Oh my God, I'm in awe of the things that we were just so determined, and we would stay up all night working on our businesses that we didn't even have and supporting each other and doing all the mindset. And I'm just really in awe of our courage back then, because we had no idea. I was too scared to even get up and talk in front of, all of these people. I was so crippled in fear. But it was just that inner yearning, and so grateful. And the biggest thing I want to share here is that how important your soul tribe is, how important being mentored and having your collective group to actually grow and shine together and support each other on this journey, because it's it is incredibly challenging, but when you've got those people that understand you and come from a level of consciousness as well. So we're always, we talk so consciously about, I felt some guilt come up the other day. Oh, no, this came up and this came up. And so we're always looking at what's a gift in situations and the positivity and learning, oh my God, so much from each other.
Yeah, it's a very powerful space. That consciousness, collective consciousness. Yeah. Yeah.
So what would you like to share about our journey?
Oh my God. Well, I had just moved to Australia, so I was making big changes in my life at that time. I was really coming to a new space because I was so done. I was asking, is this life? Is this it? Is this it? Is this life? Because surely there's more. Surely there's more to life, because I had the home, I had the perfect looking family on the outside. We had the jobs, everything was ticked. So is that it? That's what I was raised to do. Have the family, have the kids, have the 2 kids, have a home, have an investment property. And yeah, that's it. And I'm like, if this is it, surely there's more. I'm not going to go out just this way. So I decided to ruffle the feathers. We were flying in from back home, visiting family, and we were transiting Melbourne. So because the flight got delayed, I lived in New Zealand, in Auckland, as you know. And it was so purposeful that we had to stop by Melbourne, and I just felt into it, and I thought, okay, this is where we're going to live. So I said to John, my ex, we are not going to unpack, we're just going to pack up the house and we're going to move. And he agreed. And that's what we did. It was, I think, October, and then by January, quit our jobs and put the house on the market. It sold on the day that I was leaving, on the 31st of Jan, I think, yeah. And came, set up, and I was turning 40 as well now. So that was a big change. And I had this vision of meeting with people of an energy. I could feel the energy of these people. They were hugging each other. And I think, what is this? This is so strange, because I've not experienced this. I just grew up in, we had our little groups of friends. And when we came across, I was having this whole new way of life that it would be in Melbourne. And a friend that we had sent me a $50 ticket to come to Wilson Luna. And I remember walking into that auditorium, that hall at the Melbourne exhibition space. And I looked around and I felt that same energy. It was the energy that I was manifesting when I left New Zealand. And I started to look at these people, and it was like I had known them in previous lifetimes. I remember at one point going into the toilet and doing this crazy monkey dance, because I felt like I belonged, that I'd entered into a whole new arena of my life. And I've never looked back now.
Wow. Yeah, what a blessed experience that we had. And now we continue to have. And
yeah.
Before we go more into the mentoring, the parenting, remember we used to catch up at Jeanette's house every Tuesday night. We'd all go, she'd cook us a beautiful dinner with the Thermomix, and we would sit there at the kitchen table and all support each other with our businesses. And I was hopeless at numbers. And I remember doing my MailChimp, my newsletters, and it would just take me years and months and days. And so we would just help each other, because we all had different skills that we were good at. And I'm so grateful for that time, because I don't know how people do it on their own.
Yeah, I don't think we were ever meant to do this work on our own. Even parenting, even business and life, we're not meant to do life on our own. We are here. The message at the end is that we are all connected and we are love. How can we experience that on our own? the greatest incongruence comes when we isolate ourselves.
So beautiful.
So it's so important to peel off those layers to why we feel the need to isolate ourselves. Yeah, and there's so many reasons, and yeah, which is why parents are not here to do this work on their own. Unfortunately, they feel like they are doing this on their own, because in the past, even in those tribal days, like you mentioned now, kids were raised by communities, not by two single parents with all of their issues and limitations and all of that influence that they put onto their kids today. Their kids are not exposed to, they just look up to mom and dad, and they take on patterns from mom and dad, and they play that out with their kids. They're so restricted, so limited, not meant to be this way.
Yes. And do you want to just explain how you came to be a parenting mentor?
I'm still scratching my head, finding out how did I end up here, Mel? It was the one area in my life that I felt I had nailed. At the time when I jumped into this pool, and then as I kept going, I realized, oh my God, there was so much more to learn. So as I took it on and it became my focus, I became an even better parent as well.
Do you remember your first client?
Oh, yes, I do. I do remember my first client, but she was more of a general coaching client than a parenting. Yeah, and she was a friend of mine, because I was at this coaching training, and they said, message all your friends and offer them $50 a session. And so a $500 pack of 10 sessions. So I messaged all of these friends of mine. I had a lot of friends, and my calendar was booked out, Mel.
Oh, look at that.
I was in awe of all of these people that just already had so much trust and awe of me. I was just was blown away. I was blown away. And yes, I remember my first client. She was from New Zealand. And yeah, I supported her through a transition that she was going through. And yeah, she's had amazing experiences and is still good friends to date. And she actually not long ago reached out that she'd like to work with me again, because she's in a new relationship and she would like to thrive in that now, because yeah, she's that trust is there and it never really goes away, does it?
No, that's beautiful. And yeah, well then as the next transition of the life happens, then it's learning again, isn't it?
And they're open to knowing that they're not here to do this alone. They can accentuate that journey and thrive in it on such a higher level when they leverage off someone who has their absolute best interest and not stuck in their blocks and self-sabotaging patterns. There are no limits when you allow yourself to be coached, because your coach doesn't experience your limits, doesn't think or act or behave from your limits. They see only the greatness in you. Of course, it is important to choose the right person that you work with. But yeah, the power of being mentored.
Beautiful. And so how do you, how for listeners out there, how do they recognize that they're ready or willing, courageous to be mentored, and what are the sort of things that they should look for? I suppose, as you say, in finding that the right fit, the right mentor.
Yeah. So for parents, it would be if they're finding themselves in situations where they are they're saying things like, oh my gosh, I'm messing my kids up. Or they're finding themselves not able to control their emotions. They're asking themselves at the end of the day, why did I have to yell so much? Why did I have to get so angry? Where did all that anger come from? Or they find themselves feeling that yearning that you mentioned, that yearning that surely there's more. All right, my kids are behaving well, they're listening, but are they really living their best, or are they just so focused on complying with me? There's that yearning. So if that yearning is what you feel, to allow for your family to experience that win-win, and your kids to feel like they are thriving and they completely trust you, and allow for those walls to come down and break down, then um, this is an opportunity for you to experience that on a whole new level. I want to say if parenting is important to you, but I think parenting is important to it's one of those big roles we come on when we have kids. It is an important role. So, why not allow yourself to be mentored to be your best at the role that is the most important, one of the most important roles to you.
Yeah, beautiful. And do you have a situation for yourself where you could see that you were an unconscious parent, I suppose, or coming from that subconscious mind, and how that's influenced and changed you and allowed you to?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when I wrote my book, Mel, after you wrote your book, I was inspired to write my book, Abundant Motherhood, Empowering Moms to Empower Their Kids. My kids shared chapters in that book about me, who I was before, the unconscious mom, and their experience of me as a conscious mom, and what difference that made to them. So I think that says it all. And I'll often say as well, to the kids when I say, "Oh, mom, but you used to, give Yannicka such a hard time." I said, "Yeah, that was my disempowered days." So they have a laugh about Yannicka being raised. So she's now 22, and up to the age of maybe 9, 10, she had the disempowered version of me. And there were moments there where I had those light bulb moments as I was parenting her, as I was yelling at her, and as I was uh, projecting what I didn't know at the time, projecting my own "I'm not good enough" onto her. I remember sending her off to bed, just being so upset and annoyed because she hadn't done her work for school and came to me with it so late at night. And I had this big blowout at her and send her off to bed, and I could hear her sobbing, and my heart just broke now because I said all these words to her that really, if I questioned myself, were not true of her. And I remember just feeling so gutted that I had hurt her so much, because all she ever wanted to do in her little life was to please me and to love me. And I had just told her how she had disappointed me, and how she didn't feel loved by me anymore. And I remember that being one of those turning points for me on this journey. When you ask that question, possibly that's one of those big light bulb moments when I asked myself, is this the parent who I planned to be? And did my kids know how much I love them? They couldn't. I was a burnt out mom, completely overwhelmed. I love them to absolute bits, but my language, my anger, my not good enough that I felt within me, the guilt that I felt, we're projectors, and we project that externally. So it was so important to put the mirror, and I saw that the unworthiness I had projected on her was me, my own unworthiness, me not feeling good enough. And that was a big breakthrough moment. So that's the invitation to parents, really, to ask those questions, to look at themselves in the mirror and say, is this me that I am projecting? Then let me go away and work on me. Because my kids don't deserve this. They deserve so much more. And they chose you. My kids chose me to be that perfect parent who went on that perfect, turbulent journey to be the perfect mom. I was the perfect mom at that time for them, as I was projecting, and I'm the perfect mom today for them, as I live out my higher self and parent them from an awareness, a level of awareness and consciousness where they have no fear to step out to be themselves. They have no fear to turn around and say to me that they are what they're truly feeling. There's no barriers, and we hold space for them. And I also mentioned we did go through a breakup. So I left the girl's dad as part of that journey, and I am super proud of how we worked through the single parent journey is a very challenging one for the kids and for all parties involved. And this way of choosing to be in our highest self, choosing to be in a highest level of awareness, choosing to come from a space of love and compassion in every moment for all involved was such a powerful and courageous path, and so well worth it now.
That's beautiful. You're such a light for so many, because I hear it a lot, how people are, couples are not happy in the relationship. And quite often they know it's not for the highest and best good, but they'll actually stay together because of the children. And they'll say, oh no, we need to wait till they're 18 years of age. And then meanwhile, like, the children are feeling all of that, the fear-based energy, like they're so aware of it. So what would you say to people out there that, are in that type of situation, that, because that's very much, and where we can live from sometime is when this happens, then this will happen. When that happens, then I can do that. But as we know, we only have now. This is all we have.
That's right. That's right. I definitely, most certainly was in that situation, Mel, and I wasn't as aware then as I am. I was on the journey, but we're always on the journey, aren't we? So for me, my advice to those parents is to make being true to themselves in each moment a priority. Check in. Is this me being true to me? Am I congruent? The words I use, how I feel, am I living my truest, best self in this moment? Or am I being incongruent with my own self in the way you deal with your partner that you are struggling with? Be completely truthful, because my turning point was when I realized that it was a beautiful gift for them as well. Like, I was this unhappy, there was no way that they are happy in this. So seeing it as a beautiful gift that you don't give just yourself, that you give them as well an opportunity to experience life and be more of who they are, and they have a choice to choose. And in that way, I realized that I gave that to my girls as well. So we all made a choice to step into being true to ourselves and have the opportunity to live life on a whole new experience. Because you never experience anything new if you keep doing the same thing over and over again. So allowing yourself to experience that. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's the most courageous thing ever. And there were lots of rock bottom moments on that journey, but the only way was up. And today, that was in 2017, Mel, and we are now, it's 5.5 years since, and I've never been happier. I cannot imagine the level of happiness and wholeness and fullness that I experienced. Freaking mind blowing. So all that is so worthwhile. So to the parents who are there, don't worry about today, tomorrow. Don't even worry 1 year from now, but think about 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from that time you make that decision. What's most important is to be true to you, and that's the biggest gift you give to your kids and to the other parties involved.
Thank you, gorgeous. I feel quite emotional because I was very much on the journey with you, and you are such an inspiration and a light in that space, and particularly because of your culture, where you've come from as well. Can you just explain a little bit about that? So because it gives it the next context, I think, of course, it's very challenging, but you do hold such a safe space for people to step into themselves and their power because of what you've actually overcome.
Culturally, I won't say that it's all gone away, but the only judgment we ever feel, Mel, is the judgment we feel towards ourselves. So when I let go of judging myself for making the choices I made, I felt no judgment from anyone around me. till today, my dad will say things about how it was the wrong thing to do, or he says things that he is not in agreement culturally of the choices I made. And I say to him, Dad, I love you very much. I know you love me too. And I know what's most important under all of your concerns is that I'm happy. So I'm only going to respond to you that I'm the happiest I've ever been, Dad, because I know that beyond all the culture and the traditions and all of that, not looking, not feeling right, and not doing the right, is the right and the wrong that we're going into doesn't even matter, because I know at the end you love me and I am the happiest I've ever been. And I know deep down that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So it's a very strong mindset and it takes courage. There's people that chose not to speak to me anymore. They see me and they turn away. Doesn't faze me. They're not my people. I've got my people.
Yeah.
And I'm the happiest that I've ever been, you know. So yeah. And I do want to mention this, that turning point did come in one of my sessions while you were coaching me, Mel. And you challenged me to rip off the band-aid. And I freaking did. No more bandaging situations and bandaging emotions. Ripped the bandage off and just stepped into courage. Wounds and all. Pain, hurt, sat with it, worked through it, was accepted, all of that. You know, how much can phase us after we've been through that? Not much in life can really knock us down.
Yeah, that's right. And then that's how, in a way, building a business can become easy because you've already been through so many life challenges and you just learn so much about yourself, and then it allows you to step up.
Yeah, your languaging becomes that no matter what, I'll work through this because that's who I am. You become a whole new identity of yourself. The greater the challenges, the greater the freedom and joy you have the potential to enjoy.
Yes. And the thing about you that is so incredibly amazing is you chose to rip off that bandage and be courageous, because on the other side of that is only happiness. But
you don't know that at that time, do you? I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just had you as a backup and someone who gave me that push, and that's what mentors do. They give you that push to go into the discomfort. Yeah, and it's so well worth it. So absolutely honored. Thank you.
Oh, gorgeous. Well, it's such an honor to see, as you do, we see our clients in their higher self. So we already see the outcome, and I tap into it and I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be so happy. Oh, this is exciting. And then of course they're not living that reality, but you hold that space, you hold that light, and you keep supporting them through knowing that that's what's going to happen. And so that's why being mentored, the accountability, the support is, imperative, because you can't see it yourself. You're in it, you're in the dark, it's bloody frightening. And that's why we all need, mentors in different areas of our life to keep holding that light for us, so that we can keep, moving forward towards it. It's so beautiful. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. We could talk for hours. What would you say the biggest differences are for, well, of course, there's many, for your family, for your beautiful girls? Like, I know them so well. And, they're just, they're so emotionally intelligent. They're such leaders. They're such inspirations. They really are. So what are the biggest improvements, I suppose, you've seen from you choosing to be courageous, follow your true path, how that's empowered them, you being the empowered parent has empowered them?
So I've got the teenager, Janelle, who's 17, and I've got Yannicka, who's 22, and they've gone through that changing schools. They've gone through those teen years. They've gone through the friendships. They've gone through the breakups even, and they've gone through such a crucial part. Every part of our lives is crucial, but that part of transitioning into their adulthood with the emotional awareness and knowing their emotions, that's the biggest gift that I was able to impart to them, is to become so at home with their emotions, to know that no emotion was bad, all emotions are accepted, and to be able, and when they could not accept their own emotions, I was that safe space for them, to hold space for whatever was coming up for them. What a powerful space now. Nothing can go wrong. They transitioned through all of those challenges. We transitioned through together and we came out so much stronger. We've got the most, the strength-wise, the most courageous relationship ever. Nothing can phase it. There's not even the doubt of fear that anything can go wrong, and a lot goes wrong. A lot goes wrong. They make a lot of choices that don't align with, but we are able to come to the table and love each other through the greatest challenges that we face. It's such a powerful space for parents to hold, and single parents as well. A lot of single parents can find it very challenging to parent on their own and to build that relationship when kids are, some kids spend time with dad and then other times with moms. And that can be a big challenge, because one parent does not have complete hold, and both parents can then, the kids can play, look for where they meet their needs, making them most for their own, and not that they're doing anything wrong, but that's what kids will do. They will make the best of what's so for their own advantage, and that can throw parents off and really not allow for those close, connected relationships that kids really need. They need that parent to be that support for them. As much as they put that wall, I have parents who say, oh, my kid won't even talk to me other than come for a meal and then disappear off onto their phone or into their room. And the reason for that is because this core, this connection isn't there. And it's never too late now. It's never too late. I get parents that come to me with kids as old as 27 looking to connect, and we can break those walls down. So don't be worried if your child's a teen and you think that there were things you should have done. No, there's things you can do now. Because we're always seeking, it's our human experience, love and connection. And you're seeking it most from those who are closest. You are already that perfect parent your child needs for their journey.
That's so beautiful. And just the space for them to be able to release and not judge any emotions.
Not feel judged. That's such a big one. And we can only do that when we've done that for ourselves. So my program is called Emotional Mastery now. Emotional Mastery for Parents, so that they can master this area and hold their gorgeous kids' space. Emotions play such a big role. And for their partners too. So much of unnecessary emotion we can just shove aside. No time, no space for that, because we know what we're here for.
And so then it prevents the addictive behaviors that we can pick up. Like, because we want to suppress, which I did, you want to suppress your emotions. So then you become, I became OCD about things. And then addicted to worry, creating more fear. Then alcohol, using that as a crutch for, social anxiety and things like that I had. So, it's what we need now. We've got so many addictions out there. We've got,
all driven by non-management of emotions, all driven because we're not comfortable with our emotions. So let's master them. Let's know who it is. Let's see what it is. So
that is perfect. So at the bottom of this, we'll put a link for your book.
Yes.
And then is it a link to you send a link to your website or your emotional mastery program?
Yeah.
And let's cheer on all these beautiful parents out there to, make 2023 that year where, and yes, it's for your children, but it's for you as well. So that then you can be the best version of yourself and be the leader for your parents, because 98% of our learning is through observation. I always say to clients, if you want to help your kids, they're like, oh, Mel, I'm stuffing up my kids. I'm like, perfect. All you have to do is be the best version of yourself, and then they're going to learn that.
Just learn that. Exactly. Exactly.
Such a beautiful flow-on effect. So we'll pop all those links for everybody, and so they can get in contact with you and really, support all these beautiful families to unite, to come together and learn through challenges.
That's
so
right.
we can enjoy
through them.
Yes, beautifully said. So we'll finish up with our questions now. And the first question is, what does success mean to you?
So success to me means emotions, success around managing your emotions, success in my connection with myself and my higher self. And it's 6 things, Mel. So it's my health, it's my emotions, it's my closest relationships, it's me doing what I love. So that is success for me as well. And the spirituality is a big component of having all of these in alignment.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I just got a vision of a wheel, because then the wheel's going around. This is how you get flowing life.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
The bumps. That's beautiful. And what words of wisdom would you say to your past self that was going through a challenging time?
Oh, you're going to get me all teary now, Mel. She was so courageous. You've got this. There is nothing you cannot do or have or be. He came into this world with so much greatness, you have no freaking idea. Yeah, just remind her to step out in courage. One step at a time. You got this, you will be supported. You can't see it now. You've got to take the step before you see the support flow to you. You got this, trust yourself.
Thank you. It's so beautiful. Beautiful message for all of us.
For all of us.
And that continues, not just the past self, but the future self. Because, as things come up, it's just remembering that we do have that. We've got it. We created it all. So beautiful. And the third question, the last question is, when you're ready to transition to the next life, how do you want to be remembered?
As someone who was courageous to live her best life.
It's beautiful.
Because it takes courage to live your best life.
It does. Thank you, gorgeous. That is just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And thank you for being an inspiration in my life. I'm so grateful for you, because
you've been a beacon for my life now. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to share this podcast with everyone.
Yes. And support all these beautiful parents out there and families. To choose courage to have the happiness that they long for.
That they deserve. They so deserve. Everyone, no one is exempt.
Yes.
No one is exempt. There's no reason why we've come here. And all of the texts, the religious texts as well, those who are overly religious, all of their texts, each of them say the same thing. They are worthy of the abundant life. That is, they just need to be courageous. This journey is about being courageous to step into that abundance that's there for them.
Yes. Let's all do it together. Let's thrive together. Let's all enjoy life together.
That's right. We were never meant to do this alone.
Thank you, gorgeous. And so grateful. So we'll pop all the links below so people can get in contact with you. And if this resonates or they know someone that does, we'd be really grateful if they could pass that on and help others.
Yeah, my group is called the Empowered Parents Group. I'm Yolanda Alvares on Facebook. Happy for you to DM me. I'm Empowered Parenting Coach on Instagram. And my program is Emotional Mastery for Parents. Yay, let's do this.
Let's do it. Everyone deserves, to be living their best life. Thank you. Love you so much. Appreciate you, gorgeous.
So grateful for you to have me. Thank you.
Lots of love.